this morning I went into work, and that's why I look like this. I went into work and my coworker looked at me and said, "You're serving me very big Wednesday Addams vibes today." And funny thing is, that's the best compliment I've ever got, because I am a Halloween freak. My family is Halloween freaks. We love Halloween. We like the history behind it. We, as you can see, do costumes every year. This year I was a Flatbird girl. It was a freaking statue. I don't know what my mom was thinking, but I do that pose very well. So you can go on the next slide. And these are just more costumes every year. My grandmother made this dress and sewed individual pearls on it, and I was forced to come out of my tomboy shell and be a Victorian princess. That was not it. But this is the reason I believe I'm credible to tell you about the origins of Halloween, because I've spent years of research. I actually just went to Salem last weekend, and I've done a lot of research, and I have a few credible sources in here who discuss the traditions starting way back when. Your reason to listen would be this will make you smarter. So when you guys are partying on Halloween, October 31st, throwing your shots back, whatever you're doing, not my business, you'll be celebrating for the right reasons, for the actual reasons of Samhain. So today I'm going to tell you about the Celtic holiday Samhain, Christianity and European cultural effects on Samhain, and our 21st century Halloween rituals. Now that you know what I'm going to inform you about today, let's get into the Celtic holiday Samhain. The Celtic holiday Samhain was a Gaelic festival celebrated 2,000 years ago by the ancient Celts. This holiday was known to be during the autumn and winter transition, and it was originally to celebrate the new harvest year, but there's a theory that the darkness and the cold of the new season brought in supernatural fairies and deceased souls, and what they actually were celebrating was warding off spirits and protecting their ancestors. But according to Nicholas Rogers, and he was a history professor at New York, he published an article, Halloween, in 2003. He believed that there's no hard evidence that this is what they were celebrating, but because of the traditions and the rituals that they performed, that's what led to the theory of celebrating ancestors and supernatural. And some of those traditions that was celebrated during Samhain was they would do masks and costumes and bonfires, and they would do souling and soul cakes. And souling, according to Forbes, in his article Halloween published in 2017, souling was when the poor would go door to door and they would offer prayer in return for food, and that was called souling. The action itself was called souling, and the food would be called soul cakes. So they would make these soul cakes. You can go to the next one. So you can see here, these are the masks, the bonfires, and these are the soul cakes that they had. And now that we've discussed the Celtic holiday Samhain, let's talk about the effects of Christianity and European culture on the holiday. Christianity looked down on this holiday. They did not believe in spiritual rituals like this. The only thing that they believed in was saints and martyrs. So this is Pope Boniface IV, and he took Samhain and moved it to May 13th. And it was specifically to honor martyrs. And according to Forbes again, he said that the martyrs were inspirations to Christians all around, because martyrs were the ones who were going out door to door preaching with their religion. So martyrs, May 13th was the day that we celebrated martyrs by taking their bones and relics and creating an annual ritual on the calendar. So instead of doing the mass, the costumes, the bonfires, and shooing off the deceased souls and those supernatural fairies, it was actually just now a day for honoring martyrs. And then later on, Pope Gregory, who's this guy down here, he believed that taking the bones and relics of people was kind of unethical, and that we should move it back to November 1st, because that was the day where the autumn and winter transition happened, and it didn't make sense to move the day as a whole. And he believed that we should merge, so he had a different belief. He had a belief that we should merge the traditions of Samhain and on May 13th, so the things that they did on May 13th. So instead of, we were celebrating saints and martyrs, but we were also shooing off the dead and shooing off those supernatural fairies. And then the New England Puritans, because during all this was a lot of immigration going on. So during this time, New England Puritans banned Halloween right after this. So it was still called Samhain, but as we know it today, it's Halloween. And they banned Halloween, and because it was a Catholic holiday, it was forbidden. It was not Christian, so it was forbidden. They didn't like the idea of it. And then again, with more immigration, Irish Catholics came along during the potato famine, and during the potato famine, and because of that, they brought their culture, which was the same as like the Christian culture of celebrating, the Catholic culture, my bad, celebrating, shooing off the saints, and it was the same Samhain cultures and rituals. So because of that, it became on the calendar on October 31st into November 1st as Halloween, and that's when it had become a calendar ritual to ward off spirits and to protect their ancestors, but also to celebrate the saints and martyrs. And now that we've covered the effects of Christianity and European culture on Samhain, let's talk about Halloween in our 20th, 21st century. So we started to adapt things like Mischief Night, which is funny because Mischief Night was actually just a tradition from May Day, and they just carried it on to multiple holidays. So they started doing like the night before and started causing like destruction. So they liked the tricks and stuff that we brought along, but they didn't really bring the treats in so much and the actual aspect of it. And they just carried like the destruction context of the holiday along. So then they caused Mischief Night. And Mischief Night was making lots of noise, moving a bunch of things, just causing a lot of destruction to things that didn't need to be destructed. And there was genuinely no actual point behind it. And then the next day, now that Halloween was officially on October 31st, businesses started taking this as a way to advertise and make more money. So from like 1921 to 1973, all the first like citywide celebrations happened, and it was like large parades were happening. Now we have the Halloween parades, and around that time period, businesses were like, oh, well, we can celebrate costumes and masks, and we can sell books and all that and make more money. So that's how Halloween kind of came to be, and then people started doing pumpkin painting. So all the old rituals just turned into a business thing. And now that we've discussed Halloween's origins and transition into today's culture, let's recap what I've informed you about today. I don't know what's next. So what I've informed you about today is the Celtic holiday Samhain, the Christianity and European culture effects on Samhain, and our 21st century Halloween. And because of all that, and because of our origins of Samhain, whoever is lucky enough to wake up to me every day gets to see this.